Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. The series where I recommend used cars or recommend you run like hell away from them, I was told is very useful. And I know they're not going to get a ton of views, but if they help just one or two people avoid headache, heartache, hardship, I am a happy man. So let's continue this series today. And today we'll pick up where we left off with, let's say, Asian cars or imports. And that will include Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia. Anybody remember Daewoo? They're not a company anymore, but the Daewoo cars, absolute junk. But maybe I'll include one or two from them. So let's continue on. I think you get the idea. And the first one I would like to start with is obviously Toyota Corolla. I'll let you pick which Toyota Corolla you enjoy the best because I recommend just about every one of them. They are extremely reliable. Gas mileage is very, very impressive. They are easy to work on, and if you don't want to do it and make it a DIY project, guys, any mechanic around you will accept those cars to work on them. If you go to certain shops, they may not accept all makes and models to work on. There are some makes and models that they would refuse to. A Toyota Corolla, my gosh, if somebody doesn't accept a vehicle in their shop to work on, I may want to second guess their ability to fix cars in the first place because they're easy to work on. The parts are plentiful still for a lot of the Corollas that are out there running around on the streets. That means if they're plentiful, they're at an okay price and not very hard to find. So that's what I recommend. And let's hop on over to the other end of the spectrum on one I don't recommend, and that would be the Nissan Altima. Where I'm getting these from is my visits to auto auctions, lots, and personal locations to buy vehicles. Vehicles I have purchased and worked on and sold, and vehicles we work on here at the shop. We have a high turnout of all different types of vehicles. So the information I'm putting together for you comes from a bunch of different angles. When I say Nissan Altima, I know there are some out there that are going to say they have 200,000-300,000 in their Altima, but I say to stay away from them because most of them are neglected. Cars that come through here, cars I work on, cars I've bought, cars I see at the auction and on lots are normally neglected and not maintained. I don't know what it is about the owner, the average owner of a Nissan Altima, but they do not like to maintain their cars. So if you're looking for a used one, this is where I would say look elsewhere. If you're going to buy a new one, that's fine, and then maintain it throughout its lifetime. But I'm going to tell you, with its CVT transmissions, you're going to want to run away from them or avoid them. They are impossible to DIY. Nobody likes to work on them. You can buy refurbished or manufactured rebuilt. There's some on the West Coast and some spotty here and there that will rebuild a CVT transmission, but in my area, nobody within miles and miles and miles and miles will touch them. So that alone really turns me off to any vehicle with a CVT type transmissions. And there are many. I'm trying to mention all of those in these series, so stay tuned and watch all the series, and I'll give you all the cars with these just horrible hallmarks. When I see them on the auctions, they're always dented, scratched, beat up. The interiors are always neglected and dirty, and you put that on top of an interior that doesn't have a quality material to begin with, it leaves a cabin and turns it into a place that you don't want to be for a long time. I'm in my cars for a long period of time, guys. I don't know about you. I spend a lot of time in the car driving here and fro a couple hours a day, and it needs to be a cabin that's clean and smells good, or is at least odorless and is fresh and looks good and is not torn up and ripped apart. Every Nissan Altima that I see either come through the shop or at an auction or on a lot is in horrible shape. Just stay away from them. Let's move on to the next one. That's going to be the Toyota Camry. Now, the Camry that has the V6s are just incredible and crazy, crazy, crazy reliable. And not bad on gas, maybe not as good and efficient as a Corolla, but they are very good on gas compared to other V6s. When I see these at the auction or on a lot, they sometimes have 200,000-300,000 miles on them, and they are there in that lot waiting for a new owner and ready to put on another 30, 50, 100,000 miles. Now, you just have to look at them closely and do what I show you in these videos to take a closer look and make sure they're maintained, and where to look for the signs for these. And if they are maintained, you're going to get probably another 100,000 miles out of it without major repairs. And what I talk about with these vehicles, there are going to be nickel and dime things for you to take care of. You can't avoid that on a car that's approaching 100,000 miles. But you can get 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 miles on them easily without a major $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 repair. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. And again, I'm going to repeat, parts are still plentiful for a lot of these running out on the road, so the part price is going to be okay, it's going to be decent, and you shouldn't have a problem finding whatever you're working on or whatever you need to fix. Normally at auction, these are in good shape. The only thing you need to worry about is they will rust apart and fall apart around the drivetrain before the drivetrain fails on you completely. And they might nickel and dime you here and there. Small things. I can take care of that, turn that into a DIY project, save that money, do it yourself. Yeah, they're normally well taken care of. They look like someone who owned them loved them. It's very rare that one comes through that's neglected and hasn't been washed in a year and a half, 2 years, and the interior's piled high with McDonald's wrappers. So definitely recommend a Toyota Camry. Now let's get on to one on the other end of that rainbow or spectrum that I'd say run far from, and that is a Nissan Maxima, and that's for pretty much the same reasons as I don't recommend a Nissan Altima. The transmissions are absolute garbage. And the Maximas that I see are always beat, and I mean beat hard. I see coolant splashed and misted in places, and oil leaks, and the CVT transmissions are just absolutely garbage to begin with. You pull the dipstick and they are black and just thin and smell like fuel. Horrible shape, and very rarely maintained properly, where I look around and I see new filters all the way around, new belts, new hoses. It's very rare. So transmission, oil leaks, beat to hell, not maintained, that is not a great combination. Run from a Nissan Maxima. All right, let's move on to the next one that I can recommend, and that would be the Honda Civic. I think they're neat looking little cars. They are, if you find one that isn't tooled with and manipulated and has aftermarket parts and looks like it, or has signs that it has been well maintained, that's the one I would pick up first. They are excellent fuel mileage. They run forever. They are very reliable. Once again, easy to work on. Make it a DIY project, do it yourself. You very rarely have a repair on there that's going to be a major $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 repair. The parts are plentiful, easy to find at a decent price. And if you don't want to make it a DIY project, a local mechanic is not going to refuse your Honda Civic if anything small ever goes wrong with it. And most likely, unless it's in very rare cases, it's going to be something small and not a major drivetrain issue. Let's move on to one I don't recommend. That is going to be the Mazda, especially Mazda RX-8. Rotary engine, anything with a rotary engine, nobody in my area will work on them. There may be some in your area, then don't worry about it. I know I can't work on them myself except for some small things. I think the engine is garbage to begin with. I don't like the idea. I don't like the cars. They are normally beat to hell when I see them come through the shop or at a lot or privately. They are a maintenance nightmare. Parts are hard to find. Nobody will work on them locally, and if you can't work on them, it makes a vehicle that is a maintenance nightmare, and I stay away from them. All right, the next one I'm going to recommend is Subaru Outback. Subaru Outbacks are crazy reliable on top of being all-wheel drive. When you have something that's crazy reliable and can do very well with inclement weather of any kind, it is a crazy combination. You know, for me, it's a vehicle that isn't the most glamorous and exciting, but if I needed something to go from A to B, I wanted it to be reliable and I wanted it to get me there no matter where I lived and what climate I was in. That first car I'm going to be looking at is a Subaru Outback. Now, 2004, 2003 and older, they did have some issues, especially with the head gasket. After 2004, that was kind of taken care of. 2004 and newer, you are going to be good to go for 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 miles if you maintain it. Now, for the vehicles that I don't recommend, that's going to be Daewoo. That's out of business. The cars are still around. I still see them every once in a while at the auctions. Hyundai and Kia. Those are three that I would not recommend. They are absolute scrap. Kias, they're 50-50 as to if you're going to get one that lasts for very high mileage, like 300,000 or 400,000 miles. I often find that their repairs are expensive when something does go wrong. There is really no small issue to take care of. It's all kind of expensive. So I hope that helps. That was the import. It was the Asian cars that I do not recommend used. And the ones that I would recommend if you are into looking through the used car market for your next car or truck. This has been Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. If you have any questions on anything we covered today, never hesitate to reach out and I will broaden the conversation and give you a hand specifically. If you have a specific vehicle to ask about, no matter what make and model it is, I've come across it. Within 30 years, especially here the last couple of years, through a 30-year career, I've come in contact and worked on so many cars. I don't think there's going to be one you can throw out there that I don't know of when it comes to reliability and value. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next video.